Hello, this is Matthew Williams. I'm just bringing a little video to talk about Canadian elections. I've been having people send me some links recently, so I assume, because I don't bother with the news, because I know it's all propagandized fucking bullshit. I don't have a television. I'm not interested in that sort of thing. But I'm assuming, without even bothering to Google, that the Canadian elections are going on. Now, I don't know much about Canadian elections, but what I do know is that most political systems in the world don't work. Most politicians are just power crazy psychopaths. And the reason they want to get into politics is not because they want to do good for the world. You know, that just comes as an ego-grandizement for these people anyway, is because they want power over other people. And it's a privileged position in society. So that's why these people are after these positions, because they want people to look up to them and do what they say. And that's why when you have institutions like the British government, which just don't listen to what the people tell them they want, go and do things like put speed cameras in that nobody ever asked for. You know, when you've got things like this, I say, why bother voting? What's the point? There's absolutely no point in voting. You get bloody Freemasons, and you get people who are just, you know, you wouldn't put much credit on these people as having normal, everyday lives. And you know, we see the corruption, we see how people operate, we see how things backroom deals are done. I mean, why bother with the voting process at all? I say. You've got to get rid of the corruption before you get into government. And the only way I think you can ever expect to have a government or institutions that will do things properly is if these people are picked randomly, which is a principle which I believe is used in some places in Africa, where they say, you know, in tribal villages, they say, well, you have to be the leader, not, you know, I want to be the leader, I want to be the leader, not that, yeah, that doesn't work, yeah, they actually say, we want you to be the leader, and the people pick the leader, not the leader promote themselves, which, you know, it's not a bad idea really when you think about it, is it? If societies are meant to be about people doing their good, then how about you pick somebody randomly and you say, well, you've got to do the job, you know, because then you're going to get actual proportional representation of what people think and feel, not representation from a psychopath who wants to take control and operate society in the way he says it must be fucking controlled. I mean, that's, you know, how did Hitler get into power? How did Hitler get into power? Because he just sat down and he thought through ways to manipulate people's minds. He wrote it in his book. You know, it's all there in black and white. This is how you fuck with people's minds. You know, he believed in using the media. He believed in manipulating government by false flag operations, i.e., you know, let's cause terrorism so that we can get people to kind of, you know, back our security laws, and then we'll become even more powerful. It's all there in black and white, and people are still living by these standards today. And yet people say we must have politics because we're a democracy. Are we a fucking democracy? I don't think we're a fucking democracy, are we? Are we? We've got kings and queens that rule us. We've got rich people who are so super fucking rich that they can just manipulate every part of our lives. And everything in government is run. Look, I got coffee today. Well, that's actually tea. It's not coffee. I've got a cup of tea today, so no alcohol. I have got some stuff. But anyway, my point being, let me just enjoy that for a second there. My point is that the Diebold company, I believe, that makes the get rid of that. The Diebold company that makes the voting systems, the electronic voting systems, and they also made the, what are they called? Bloody lottery. I'm getting brain freeze today. The lottery. They made the equipment for the lottery, both in the UK and the US. Now, these pieces of equipment are encrypted, so all the data in them is encrypted. A log is kept of every single transaction if somebody goes and types something into the keyboard, or pulls up information, or looks something up, or does something, or whatever. Every single transaction is logged so that there's a complete auditable trail of how that machine has been used, who has put money and, their lottery tickets into it, exactly when it transmits back to headquarters, all this sort of thing. It's all kept. Everything, and it's all encrypted, and it's very tightly secure. That's what the Diebold company does. It does incredibly secure systems, yes? But guess what? When it was asked to make the voting system machines, which are basically scanner readers like the lottery ones that, you mark off on a piece of paper, your little dots and ticks, and it gets scanned and it's electronically counted. Yeah, when they were asked to design the system for the electronic voting system, they were specifically told, we don't want it encrypted. We don't want encryption. We don't want security. We don't want anything that is going to stop somebody coming along and changing the data. We don't want that. That's what they said. That was the spec was, we don't want any of that stuff. We want it to be totally and utterly open. Why would somebody want that? Have you seen any banks where they go home at night and leave the doors open to the vault? Have you seen any banks like that? Where you can just wander in and take the money and just fucking, do whatever you like? Have you seen any banks like that? No. Do you know why you don't see any banks like that? Because if they had them, there wouldn't be any money left in them. Yeah? So when you design a computer system that's supposed to be for voting, and you don't put any auditable trail, no logging of what transactions have taken place, what times those transactions took place, if you don't actually monitor and check that the person that's inputting their information is allowed to be there inputting their information, and if all that is not encrypted, then basically that machine can be manipulated. Now guess what? The people that actually built the machines were told that they had to do this, but they were also told, and there's been videos, they're on YouTube. If you have a look at voting corruption, the voting polling machine corruption, there are people testifying in the Senate saying that they went into these machines and they changed the votes. Right? And they tell you how to do it, how the system works. It's literally, you can connect a little computer into it, and within a few seconds you can change the numbers. You can change the votes, yeah? Now, people testifying before Senate that this took place, and yet, fucking USA, retarded, fucked up, crippled USA, which I cannot fucking believe, you still have these voting machines. So it's almost like as if somebody drops a nuclear bomb on a fucking city, in the US, if somebody drops a fucking nuclear weapon, on the city of New York tomorrow, what? Everyone's going to get in their cars from New Jersey and just drive in and carry on working in the radiation and going, oh yeah, where have all the buildings gone? I tell you what, oh look, there's my seat, but I'm just going to sit down on my seat and I'm going to continue on working. Oh look, there's my melted keyboard. Oh God, what's this funny feeling I've got? My skin seems to be melting off. Aha, I've got to get my work and carry on. Are you people fucking dumb or what? Are you people fucking dumb? Because these people that made the voting machines have told you they're insecure. The people who manipulated the votes in the machines have told you they manipulated the votes. Does this not mean that you should stop using these fucking voting machines, and you should seriously ask why the people who are actually in power right now are there? It was also brought out, I don't know if you're aware of this, but you should check this fucking stuff out, because it's all there on the net. Yes, it's all there. That it was proven that they'd used lists of names of the people who had criminal records. They're not allowed to vote in the US. In the UK, it doesn't matter. If you've got a criminal record, you can still vote. In the US, if you've got a criminal record, you can't vote. Okay, so that, if you didn't know that, that's the way it is. But anyway, so what they did is they used lists of people's names. So say they had somebody like Matthew Williams, and he has a criminal record, for flicking a fly off a wall, then he can't vote. So what they do is they take the name Matthew Williams off these lists, the criminal lists belonging to the courts and the justice system in the US, and they took them and they said, well, we know that Matthew Williams lives in Devizes, and we know he's got a criminal record, so we must strike him off the list so he cannot vote. But guess what we better do as well? This is what the geniuses, the fucking pricky, twatty, motherfucking geniuses, right, that you should honestly put a bullet in their fucking heads, yeah? People like George Bush for getting in power with this bullshit they pulled, yeah? I didn't say that, of course, but, wouldn't it be a great world if somebody just fucking did shoot the bad guys, not the fucking good guys, for a change? The George Bushes, not the fucking, John F. Kennedys? Wouldn't that be funny, isn't it? Yeah. It's always the good guys who get fucking shot, isn't it? Never the fucking bastards. Anyway, what maybe they should have done, I've forgotten my point now. What was I talking about? Bollocks. That'll be too many drugs over the years. What they should have done. That's what they did. Yes, the system of getting a person's name. So they said, Matthew Williams lives in Devizes. He's a criminal, so he can't vote. Right then, what we need to do is we need to find all the Matthew Williamses that live around the country, and we need to strike them off the voting system as well. How's about that? And it turned out that they proved, absolutely no question about it, that what they'd done is they'd taken off loads of people that had similar sounding names or similar initials to the person who had the criminal record, and they took them off the voting system. But they took them off if they knew they were going to be voting for anti-Bush, if they weren't going to be voting for Bush. And mostly the people that were taken off were black people. So they targeted the black community to take off more of those people because they knew they would be voting anti-Bush. So they took them off, and they used this system to actually strike their names off the register so they couldn't fucking vote. Can you believe that? If you live in America, you need to be thinking about these things real big. You need to be thinking about these things and doing something about them, because you live in a fucking corrupt country run by Freemasons, created by Freemasons, and run by the wankers, and they treat you like idiots. And if you don't do anything about it, well, quite frankly, you probably are an idiot, because if you stand for that sort of stuff knowingly, then there's got to be something wrong with your brain. So I'm looking forward to watching the Armed Revolution of America. It's going to be quite fun. So tune in to that sometime soon.